Education, Laurie Kilmartin.
Hey, so you were full of rage last night and it was awesome.
Was I?
Yeah, that set last night was outstanding.
Well, we were at Flappers last night, and prior to the 10 o'clock show, I had bombed hard at West Side.
I have such a hard time believing that. Really?
Oh, it was super up and down, and I was like, what the fuck? And I couldn't. The thing is like, I'm wearing a mask. It's weird. I'm not comfortable doing it completely. So part of me is like, is this the mask? Are they just angry about it? Or, did I whatever. There was numerous things that I possibly did to,
and they're all going through your head while you're trying to tell jokes.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, tell porn jokes. Okay, all right, they like the porn joke. Okay, then it was. I left feeling very unsatisfied, and and I guess I had, I don't know, Flappers felt a little bit more fun.
Oh, for sure. Sure. I've done so many sets at Flappers because, I was supposed to do James Corden on Tuesday.
Tomorrow, basically.
Yeah, basically. And then he got COVID.
So how long did they shut the show down for?
I don't know. I was told that there's nothing that they pushed this whole week. So they haven't given me, but they still need a tape and what the guy said was, what the booker said, by the way, my throat is killing me from talking through a mask for 4 days.
Too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, do I have it? But Flappers is doing PCR and rapid tests for free in the little area where, that
they're
little
doing
garden.
Rapids for free? Wow.
Yeah. They're doing both. Yeah.
Wow. That's great. I wonder where they must be getting a really good deal on those rapid tests, or maybe the state is giving them out. I don't know.
It's called,
that's expensive.
Right. It was called Hook Diagnostics.
Okay.
So it might be it might be government. Thing? It might be just a co-op thing. I don't know.
Well, when they do the PCR test, they do get repaid by that person's insurance company. So they are the Hook, whatever the diagnostic company is making money. So, all right, capitalism still's working. It wasn't. Got it.
Oh, thank God. And that's so funny. So before Christmas, when you did James Corden, they had asked if, they didn't give you any warning. They were just like, could you do it in 4 days? Right.
Basically I had a week and somebody had dropped out. So yeah.
And so, they, at the same time, he asked for a tape for me. He was like, if you want to do it, just send me a tape. And so I sent him a tape, and then he sent me notes, and I changed the tape, and then he sent me notes, and then he sent me more notes, and that was before Christmas. And I was like, I will decipher whatever these notes mean at some point. And then 3 weeks went by because of Christmas and New Year's and travel and all these things. So on Thursday, he was like, hey, do you want to do it next Tuesday? We do like that 3.5 minutes. And I was like, okay. He said, just come up with one more minute. And
this is hell. This is the hell of a late night set. Oh my God, you're in hell. Ah!
Wow,
just
joy.
One more minute. Just one more minute. That's it. That's it.
I think and he may not have said this, but this is what I heard. He's like, you could just vamp for 30 seconds. And I was like, what? Yeah, that's a big part of my
that audience is so hot. You can just literally fuck around for 30 seconds up front if you want to, and then get into your set.
Yeah, I'm not going to be counting on that. I'm not going to be counting on how
don't count on that, but
a TV crowd's going to be any given moment.
Understood.
So I've been trying different openings and different closings and different openings and different closings. And then I said to him, I said, hey, I'm doing a Zoom show. I think I have a Zoom show this week on Tuesday as well. I did a Zoom show on Friday rather. So Ryan was like, I don't know if I can make it to a live show, but I could come to a Zoom show. And I said, you are welcome to come to a Zoom show, but you must come with a grain of salt. For it is a different experience. And he was like, I will bring a salt shaker or whatever. He was on board. Yeah. So I don't know if he came to the Friday, and the set went good.
Yeah.
And I was given, and the thing is with all these sets is I'm not just like the first 2 sets I did, 2 or 3 sets I did over at Flappers this week. I literally just did 4.5, 5 minutes working on it.
Yeah.
And then I had 3, 10, 15-minute sets.
Mhm.
And so I do the 5 minutes and I'm like, I work on my new dog joke.
Yeah.
And, or, this other thing. And,
Yeah.
so last night I was working on it. I showed up early to see if I could pick up a set maybe at the Yoo-Hoo at the 8:00, and they gave me a 10-minute set opening for Leno, who was headlining this weekend at Flappers, and Jimmy Brogan, of course, was there. And so I get up and I tell Jimmy Brogan that I'm trying to figure out the James Corden set, and Jimmy Brogan, as usual, has some advice for me, and every time. And now it's kind of a running joke because he goes,
okay,
I have one piece of advice for you. And I just stared at him. He goes, yes, unsolicited again. And I was like, all right. And he goes, don't work on the other minute. Just literally just slow down. And I was like, do you even know me?
But
he's not
I don't
wrong.
think that's a bad idea.
He's not.
I mean, here's the thing, that crowd, my set went long and it was running at like 4.5 and it went like 6. That crowd takes a joke. It adds seconds to every single laugh.
Did they cut it?
Yeah, they cut some stuff.
Okay, because that's what he said. He said that if it goes over 4.5, we're gonna have to cut some stuff.
Yeah. So,
and I was like, okay,
that's not a bad idea at all.
All right. Well, and if I just do 3.5 minutes, right. I mean, Jimmy Brogan. I mean, the thing is, the dude's been doing it for 700 years, just like the rest of us. It's not like he doesn't have any, but it is always makes me laugh that it's unsolicited. And he's just like, I'm just going to give you this advice.
Yeah.
And
I understand for sure. And I can't believe Leno's doing shows. Being a late night host is a comorbidity for COVID at this point. They're all getting it.
That's the other thing that made me laugh so hard, because he was there and Mavis was there, his wife. And I've heard
I didn't know she was real. That's exciting.
Right. She goes to another high school, but she was there tonight. She was so sane and personable and lovely.
Interesting.
And had like stories that were just nice. Like, I was like, look at you with the social skills. And
that's cool. She was like, what I remember is she was talking about how the Taliban treated women in Afghanistan before 9/11. She was like trying to get money to women and help them and stuff like that.
She is a major philanthropist and has used a good portion of their income.
That's why he doesn't spend his Tonight Show money.
He lives off of his stand-up money, which of course is $250,000 per, private and per corporate. But they have donated so much money because she loves, and she's great. Anyway, so we're sitting in the green room and the Corden thing comes up and I tell him that I tell Leno that James Corden has COVID, and there's this pause that at the level that Jay Leno is at.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he was doing this, but this is what it felt like. Cause he was like, it felt like a, who books that kind of moment. Cause he literally said, is he doing a
gig?
He was like, are they doing a substitute host?
No.
And I was like, that is a Jay Leno level.
He absolutely wants that gig. Oh my God. That is hilarious.
Why wouldn't he?
It never ends. It never ends.
Jay Leno is 85% stand-up comic, 10% Motorhead, and 5% just guy walking around.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so freaking funny.
Wow. Yeah.
How was your week?
Well, let's see. So after much pondering and working over scenarios, I asked my manager to contact the club. Okay, so I had 2 weeks in the Midwest this month, right? And one of the weeks agreed to check for vaccine cards, which they weren't doing beforehand. And so I was like, okay, I will keep that week. And the other week didn't, right? And I'm not going to club shame. Okay.
You're not going to club shame, but
Yeah.
I will say this is that the state you're talking about, I never think of that as the Midwest, but I believe they think of themselves as the Midwest.
Really? Yeah, of course they are. Jackie,
Yeah.
everything between my house growing up in Northern California and this Comedy Cellar is the Midwest. Okay. So I'm just thinking I'm going to be on stage unmasked in front of, you know,
hundreds of people
for a total of, if it's 5 shows, about 5 hours in front of strangers. There's no way I'm not getting Omicron. There's no way. It's so contagious, and it's sneaking through boosters.
Augie just did some rural Washington State gig.
Yeah.
And he was like, not a mask to be seen. And they all wanted to shake my hand afterwards, and I didn't want to be a dick. And I was like, well, you have 3 small children.
Yeah. I understand that sentiment. Like I thought, well, I could just wear a mask on stage, but going up in front of a crowd that hasn't been checked for a vaccine, it is half of them are, you know, some of them may be unvaxxed and not give a shit. They will be hostile to me in a mask. I feel like if you're going up in front of a crowd that is been vaccine checked at least and told you have to put your mask back on between sips, we're all on the same page, right? Mm-hmm. We're all trying to have a good time without getting COVID. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, however it's come about, whether the state that this club is in is out of control, you know, some of these states they have no leadership at the top even giving a shit, or that's just the culture of that particular city. You know, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good for either of us, right?
No.
So I contacted them, and I'm like, oh, they might never book me again. And I
always the fear, the fear. And you're just like, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to rock the boat.
They were so cool. They said, no problem. They rescheduled me for July.
There you go. Then, all you had to do was ask. I know that's so hard.
But then I had jokingly put up a tweet just saying, any comic, if you've had Omicron, you should be on some database so that clubs can use you, because you'll fucking book every night in January. And somebody was like, I've had it and I'm available. So I told the club, and they booked her for my week. Oh. Like, so she can't get Omicron because she's already had it. She can have a fucking great time. The crowd will have a great time. I mean, it all worked.
Who?
I don't even know. I don't know if it's unpublic.
And the thing is you can't get Omicron again. You can get it again.
No, I think if you had it in December, but no, I think that person got Delta then Omicron. I'm serious.
All right. Yeah.
I'm thinking you could get, I think you could get different versions of COVID, but I think if you had Omicron in December, you're not going to get it again in January. You will have the antibodies for a little while. So anyway, so it kind of worked out like to a lot of people's benefit. I think.
I talked to Augie, and is it that person who got your week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he wondered why she got that week, and that is very nice of you. You're like, allow me to try to at least get someone.
Well, that's
in for help.
That's why we started our chat, was to, like, if we're going to cancel, we want to suggest another female comic. Mm-hmm. So that, you know, that we're not replaced by, no offense, Kyle, a white guy, right?
Yeah.
And so this is cool. It worked out. And now they have another woman in their rotation, and everyone's gonna be happy. But what were you saying about Augie, or what were you saying?
No, is that I was just talking to Augie, and that that he said, he was like, oh, I wondered why she got that gig. Because I think he must have followed. He was like, I think he followed everyone who's had Omicron who needs this gig. Yeah. And so he was like, I'm so glad that worked, you know?
Yeah. Well, she had just done Corden as well. So it's like almost the same credits. It's like, here's a younger version of me with a better comedy voice. So yeah, that was cool. And we're going to do our Bell House gig this Sunday.
Yep. So if you are in New York and you are vaccinated and you're willing to put your mask up in between sips, come out to Bell House in Brooklyn.
If you've had Omicron, let's face it. If you're in New York, you've probably had Omicron. All right. You probably had it in December. You're healed. Come on out to the show. Have a good time. Okay.
Knock yourself out.
I found out on Twitter last night that I apparently have many cartons of counterfeit N95 masks. So I've been going around the country, dragging my son through Omicron clouds, wearing a fake mask, but I guess they're working because so far.
How do you know? How do you know that they're fake? What are they supposed to be, N95s or something? Or
they're what they don't show up on a site that lists safe masks, right? So I'm not saying that they didn't do their job. I mean, they did their job because although I've been wearing 2 of them at any time I'm not on stage, and just one when I'm on stage. But so yeah, they worked, but I guess they're not, they're not official. I did order. I've noticed it is a little muffled when I'm speaking, and someone else on Twitter, like a doctor, had a link to N95s that she said were good to speak in, that people can understand you.
Okay.
So I got a bunch of those. Those are coming before we leave for the Bell House. So
how many did you get? Can I have one?
I'll bring one for you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to do the Bell House, and, I think our audience will be, pretty careful people.
Yeah. Right after the Bell House, I'm doing, Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, and I haven't asked if they're going to vax or anything. It's in Michigan. I don't know. And then I'm doing Comedy on State in Madison, which I don't know if they check either, but, I don't
know if they check, but they announce multiple times to put your mask back on.
Yeah.
So they're conscious of it for sure.
Yeah. And
it feels like Madison is also one of those towns where it's a little more liberal. I mean, you would know more than me, but it's like in Austin where they're going to have more people that are careful about that stuff than other parts of the state.
Yeah. Oh, Madison's the best town in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So it's where I went to college. It's where I want to die. I just want to crawl into I just want to go live on Mifflin Street and maybe microdose. I don't know what I want to do, but
it's pretty. I mean, I was there when it was cold, so I couldn't fully enjoy it, but it certainly is pretty. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like would you wear a mask, do you think, at your at the Comedy Castle?
No, I have the other response to all of this, which is I'm just like, well, I guess I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
It's not okay. It's I think that your attitude is better because you don't want to get sick. That turns out there's sanity there. Well done. Congratulations.
Well, the other thing is we don't know, like, they're apparently, we've moved on to that. I guess you're just going to live with COVID sort of mentality in the US, and apparently in Britain they're doing that too. So, but the thing that worries me is, now they're saying like, all this time we thought it was a respiratory disease. Now we know it's a vascular disease. And I'm like, that now you're coming for my house because, I have an aneurysm and I'm on blood thinner. So I do have vascular shit that I need to be conscious of and worry about.
Yeah.
So
it's not a respiratory.
It's
not a respiratory. It's what.
I'm no doctor. I do know that Omicron isn't attacking the lungs as much. So the damage it's doing is to the vascular, including
it's doing to the heart. Congratulations. Great.
But this person just told me that she did she headlined with a mask in this
I don't know her.
You do too.
All right.
You do.
Well, I'm glad I'm not shamed out loud.
No,
only in the
at that club, which is to me very sort of rowdy and would be.
I've never done that entire state. Mm-hmm. I've never so all of my gigs, right? So I've got 2 weeks this month or 3 weekends this month that I'm out of town, right?
Right.
So by the way, I used all my Hilton points because remember I was going to go to New York and Darla, my sister, had rented an Airbnb for like 10 days. I was going to do sets in New York. It was going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It's been 3 years since I've been to New York. And now I'm flying in the 16th. And, but I am going to stay. I'm going to hide in this Hampton Inn over in Grand Central
Nice.
for 4 days and then just go to Mark Ridley's after. And there might be sets. I don't know we should probably talk because I will have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday where there should be some. I know Butterboy is on hiatus, but
Oh, really?
yeah.
I mean, yeah. Once this podcast comes out, they'll be
Hopefully,
you'll-
yeah. Well,
you'll
I
find
can
some
ask
sets.
Gondelman too, Josh Gondelman.
Yeah.
He knows about stuff, and
Yeah.
so, and maybe I can, yeah, because I would love to do some sets Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday,
Mhm.
and then I will like to see some of my best friends from college live in New York, and I'll get to maybe have a nice outdoor meal with them in 4-degree weather,
Mhm.
and then I'll but I'm going to Michigan, then I'm going to Wisconsin, and then I've got Portland, and then I've got Denver, and then I've got
Wow.
DC, and then I've got Boston, Hartford, and somewhere else in the Northeast.
Damn, you've
Yeah,
got some
so-
great road weeks. It's the thing is you don't want to get sick for those road weeks.
I don't
you
want to
know?
get sick for the road weeks, and I don't want to turn any of them down. I haven't done
Oh.
Ridley's in 25 years. And the good news is that Ridley's, I'm just hoping to have fun. Like I know I'll have
Right.
fun at Comedy on State
Yeah.
because that is fun.
Yeah.
Ridley's, there was so much pressure 25 years ago for me to do well
Right.
that, and I did okay. I did just fine. It wasn't
Mhm.
like I didn't blow the roof off the place, but he never booked me again. So
I had that experience too. I was the MC. There was no feature. And I think I thought it was featuring, and it turns out I was emceeing because the headliner was John Joseph, who does music, and he does like an hour and 15-minute show.
so
or
just a
something like that.
2-person. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just did, 15 minutes amongst instruments.
Yeah.
And I guess it wasn't good enough for Mark to ever book me back again.
Well, famously, Mark Ridley said to me 25 years ago, "You're too much like Kathleen Madigan."
Oh,
And
God.
which I'm just like, yeah, you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want more of that.
Yeah,
at your
if
club.
that's even the case.
If that
You
were
want
even
too
true,
much
which it is not.
success.
Yeah. Too much hilarity. You wouldn't
People
want
would come to your show and be angry that you sounded like another comic they really like. I don't understand that. They'd be
not at all.
yay.
And then weirdly enough, he booked me and Kathleen's there the week after. So now I guess he could come to my shows and then literally compare us. He can. Maybe it'll be a TikTok duet. My set and Kathleen's for the next perpetuity.
It's interesting how there's a few clubs where the bookers that tormented us when we were openers are still booking the rooms. Like most clubs, it's turned over. People have died. Their grandchildren have taken over the booking, whatever.
Yoder.
Yes, a lot of Tribble is retiring. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I saw that. It's
Heartbreak.
Never got to work for him. Met him at the Portland Helium one time. He came up after my set and he was like, "Why have I never heard of you?" And I was like, "Well, I'm a well-kept secret." This is probably 5-6 years ago. And it was super loud, so I didn't hear his name. He walks away and I was like, "Was that Dave Tribble?" I literally like ran after him and I was like, "Are you Dave Tribble?" And he goes,
"Oh my God."
Yeah. And I said, "Oh my God, you're a legend, man." It's like, this is amazing to meet you in real life. And he goes, "Oh yeah, well, it's like, I got one lot." He said, "I usually run into people on the way up and I'm back on the way down." And
true. It's so true.
he's not wrong.
constantly ready to, and I'm sad that I can't on my way down I can't pick up some Tribble gigs. I was always counting on that to
Kermit
get me towards retirement. Yeah.
You know Kermit Appeal, right?
I love Kermit. Yes.
Everybody loves Kermit. And but Kermit for years, and he he told me this probably 8 or 9 years ago. He said, I like to do a Tribble one run once a year. It keeps me humble. And I was like,
yes,
you don't need any more humility, Kermit. You're doing great. You put in your time.
It keeps you grateful. I don't think Kermit's a humble guy, but it does keep you grateful for, maybe the gigs that just aren't fun, but I think he does some cruise ships, which I think can drive people mad and insane. And a Tribble run will remind you, hey, at least I only have to do, I don't have to drive anywhere. I can,
right.
I don't know. Right. Yeah, he wrote a really cool thing about Tribble on Facebook that I
oh, that's right. That was who wrote that.
Yeah. But it just so much fun, and I got so much better from doing them. And there were like my first real gigs out of California.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember there's two that I remember the most. Maybe the first one was of course I was a feature, so I was driving the headliner, and I'm sure I've told this story. Chuck Montgomery, I think he's a Christian act. I'm pretty sure he is. Like the last I looked him up, I was like, oh, I can never.
And not in a good way, not in a great.
Probably just nice on stage.
Yeah.
Which is kisses.
But it's a hell of a hook to get work.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I respect anyone who figures out a way to get work. I don't care how you do it. But so I pick him up at the airport, whatever airport, and then we're driving to Montana. We're driving to Butte. So I don't know which airport he flew into, what was nearest, but we had a massive drive from there to Butte.
Yeah.
And then we got a speeding ticket. I got a speeding ticket on the way there. And then that was the week he told me I had to have a joke up with my name in it so people would remember my name. And I've never forgotten Chuck Montgomery's name because he has this joke about Montgomery, Alabama, and somehow I don't remember the joke, but I just remember his name. So that gig was fun. But then I was like, and then it was playing like the Copper Kettle in Butte, and Butte is like an old copper mining town. And at that time there were still miners or miner families, like 8th generation Montanans who just like been working in the mines. And so it was kind of like a rough room. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of fun to try to figure it out. And then the second thing was going to Miles City, Montana, which is right on the border of South Dakota, Montana, or whatever Dakota, Montana borders. And
North Dakota.
Yeah. Okay. So, and it was right after the Gulf War had started, and me and the other comic, our show was like the headline of the local newspaper with the Gulf War. And we crushed. Like I may have never killed that hard since, because they were so
your love
that people
of a shitty one-nighter is
it makes your heartbeat a little bit, right?
No, it doesn't. Here's the thing. I grounded, I 35, 40 weeks a year through the entire of the 90s.
Yeah.
Until about 2001.
Yeah.
Not that much, because I moved here in 97. So it would have been 5 solid years of that. And then I just did 10 to 16 weeks a year because I had the day job here. But yeah, I don't need that. I don't need to do VFWs in the middle of Minot or Nebraska, or it was all Yoder and Hansen and Yoder. I mean, Yoder was good. It was interesting when he finally headlined me, because he was just like, well, you feature, by the way, you have to tell me, the Montgomery guy, did he pay the ticket?
Oh, I don't remember.
He should have.
I doubt it.
Because here's the thing, when you go on the road and the feature is driving for you, you are responsible for all the gas and you are responsible for any tickets.
You know what?
Because that is bullshit, because you don't have to pay for any kind of car nonsense. And I mean, the best headliners I worked with were the ones that covered all the gas and then would at least buy me one meal.
I agree. I think if I remember correctly, he wasn't in the car when I got the ticket. Like maybe I was speeding to pick him up and then get to the gig.
Oh,
I
right.
don't
So
think
it
he was
just
in the
happened.
car.
It
Yeah,
just happened.
yeah.
But
yeah,
well,
in general,
then you're
that's correct.
screwed. But yes, but it should definitely. Yeah, so many. The Rapid City, there was Rapid City, and then I think I did that Mile High. That was like might have been the furthest west I went. Was and then I did some weird corporate north of Denver, into Montana. That was like it was one of these small towns, and there's this guy, he's a right-wing banana head. This guy, I won't work for him anymore. Do you know that guy?
Oh,
He always
I
has
know
a
who he is. Yeah, I
he
do
always-
get that. I'm on his email list.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
He always, for decades, he had a $600 one-nighter everywhere. And it was fine, except for, and it usually came with hotel, but it had no travel.
Right.
And you're like, well, I have to find my way to Sun Valley, Idaho.
Right.
And you're like, I have to find my way to Bohunk, Cowboy Stirrup, Montana, or whatever. And so a friend of mine, I flew into Denver, and my friend drove me to this thing. She's like, I'd love to come and see it. And I was like, oh, it's going to be a nightmare.
That's the early days of a friendship when they're excited to see your show.
I was like, what are you? All right. And well, she had 2 small children. So she was also like, take me away.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm going to have a glass of wine. It's going to be amazing. And so we went to this thing, and it was all of the, like the muckety mucks of this, because it was a club house, right? So it was like the golf course and club. So it was like the town doctor and the town lawyer, and they were hammered and obnoxious and ridiculous. And it was, and I did my time, and then I ended it. And then every 42-year-old dude in the world wanted to tell me his favorite joke that was disgusting. And so if I don't have to do those gigs anymore, that's a win. That's a win. I don't need to build any more character. I feel good. So
yeah, Laurie and I are still available.
Exactly. Kyle and I will go on the road.
Fully ready to go.
Yes.
Knock yourselves out.
I did MSNBC yesterday.
What?
Yeah, so I got an email on Friday from this woman who's booked me on MSNBC before, but other shows, but long time ago. Like I hadn't heard from her in a while, and she's like, "Hey, you wanna be part of our pop culture segment on Eamon Moyeldon's show? He has a Saturday night show, right?" Okay. And so of course, yes, it's Zoom, and it's
and like pop culture. It wasn't what I got. I got something as well, but go ahead. Yeah, how did it go?
Okay. So it was fine. It was just like, you just write some topical jokes about stuff I'd seen on Twitter, I wasn't totally invested in the Novak Djokovic, whatever, the Serbian tennis player who's like, I guess sometimes I see stories that make for great monologue jokes, and I instinctively block them. So I'm like, oh, that's professional stuff, right? So I was aware of all the stories they had talked about, and I just hadn't really delved into them too much, but I just knew enough to cook up some quick jokes.
Yeah, you knocked a couple out, did you?
Yeah.
Nice,
so the first segment I was on with, it was both segments. Liz Plank, who's an author, was on with me, and also the first segment, Maya Wiley, who would have been a great mayor of New York City. And, it didn't happen. And they got this lunatic, Eric Adams. Oh, God. Anyway, whatever. So I was a little like, why am I a dick joke artist on a segment with Maya Wiley? But whatever. And she said my name, and I was like, that scared me. And then she left. And then the next segment, Eric Deggans came in, and he's like an entertainment reporter. And then it got a little more, I think when someone's a political person, social justice, maybe they're not as, lighthearted.
It can be, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So that was a little bit heavier. And then when Deggans came on, it was a little lighter, because like a entertainment reporter or something like that, a writer. And so then so they clipped one of them out that
Okay.
So it was fun.
Well, your NDA, the famous people that you're going to be on that TV show in spring.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They said your name too. And that I think is a bigger deal.
Wait. Yes. True. We'll see.
Let's take a quick break, shall we?
Okay.
And so we're back. And I have to say, I got asked, and I'm just going to put that in the chat, by a comic that we know. If I wanted to be on, did she call you too?
Mm-hmm. Did you? What did you say?
No.
Yeah, me as well.
I said, I gave her 2 names. I said, here's the 2 people that you should ask. And they're both gentlemen, because it was about cancel culture and it was all this stuff. And to be on the Dr. Phil show or whatever. And I'm willing to put all of that out in the world. But I was like, you have now this, and this is anecdotal, right?
Right.
I was not there for this, but this is one of the greatest stories and I could see it happening. So I don't know if it's true. It's Todd Glass.
Ooh.
Todd Glass with CK.
Okay.
He sees CK after the big reveal and apology, the initial apology, I think. I don't think it was before CK reneged on his apology. I think it was still in apology time.
Okay.
But Todd Glass, I think, saw him at the cellar is what I heard.
Yeah.
And I'm probably getting this wrong and I hope it's all true. Is that he yelled, because I could see Todd Glass doing this, just yelling across the room. He yells across the room toward CK. We don't talk. You and me, we don't talk anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, I could see it happening for sure. And
I feel like I never got to come up with Todd Glass. I was never in the same city as he was or anything like that, which I feel like if we had knocked around in our earlier years, we would be friends, like good friends right now. But maybe it's too late to start it up. I don't know. I love Todd Glass though. Every interaction I've had, I'm like, oh man, I just want more. But yeah, that's really cool.
I like Todd Glass a lot. He has a 3-hour podcast that he asked me to do once, and I was like, not a chance.
No,
there were a couple of podcasts that I didn't know were like Pete Holmes's podcast. I did his.
It's a long one. Yeah.
And I did not know that it was a 3-hour. And I was like, wait, do you want to become friends right now? Is that what I mean, I can't sit through it. It's so hard.
The other thing is, someone else contacted me about a show on cancel culture, like talking thing.
It's not for me. I'm sick of talking about it. Talk to a dude comic.
Right. And it always, even though they'll say cancel culture, the first question they'll ask you, or the second question, if you're a female comic, is Louis. Like, I don't want to talk about someone else's career. I want to, what I liked about this MSNBC thing is I get to make jokes like a fucking comic.
Yeah.
I don't want to, and it didn't happen to me. So, you're not even talking to the right person if that person wants to talk about it either. Like, comics are under some obligation to talk let us talk about our careers. You look at the record sales, it's all male comics anyway. So could we at least plug our shit and not have to just be, serve your narrative?
Now you say that, and I still don't want, like, if they just wanted to talk to me about all the gross things that have happened to me in the last 35 years, I'm like, no, I don't want to have that conversation either. That's not what I want to talk about in my career either. Like the horrible things that have happened to me. Yeah. Why don't you write a script and put it on HBO Max, and that'll be great.
Right. And the other thing is, like, you and I talk about it. Like, I feel comfortable talking to you about it because you're a fellow comic, and we come from the we have a simpatico point of view.
We were pacing each other for 30 years.
Yes.
So so you're like, oh, that happened like to you in a different town.
Yes. And, but I'm not going to try to exploit a situation that happened to you for my show, and someone that just has they're obviously going to look for some clip they can put out and then all of a sudden I still get, because I wrote that New York Times op-ed right after Louis, and it's like that's a thing I don't want to keep, like, hey, I already did it. I wrote something. You can read that from 5 years ago. I'm not interested in continuing this conversation. I'm a comic. I'm not a Louis C.K. commentator. That's not my job or my interest.
Right. What a terrible job that would be. My entire life dedicated to commenting on other comics.
Oh my God.
I was going to say, because you were talking about the CDs.
Yeah.
I got hard copies of both my CDs and my DVDs, and they are they're up on my website now. You can order them if you are Amish or a Luddite or related to me. And I got 300 each, right? And so when they're gone, they're gone.
Right.
And they were more expensive because I didn't order 1,000 each because I didn't want to store 1,000 for the next 15 years.
Yes.
And so they're not part of the deal, but I've already gotten like 10, and I'm trying to figure out if I should bring them to Bell House, if I should bring them to New York, if I should bring them to.
Well, do you want to be selling after the show?
I want to be making money after the show because I don't know that we're going to make it in.
I know. Should I bring notebooks?
Yeah.
Okay, I will.
You bring notebooks because I'm going to be bringing enough merch because I'm going right to Ridley's.
Right. Okay.
And there's part of me that kind of just wants to stay after Ridley's and just go to Comedy and Magic. I mean, Comedy on State, and just hang out with my brother for 4 days.
Yeah.
But they don't need Omicron, me dragging it across the country toward them either. And they're all boosted and vaxxed and everything. But they don't, if I stay in their house.
Yeah, that's the other worrisome thing is you gotta figure if you're doing if you're doing a Friday, Saturday, say you get Omicron during the Friday first show, right? It's probably not going to show up till Sunday, right? Sunday night, right? So at least you got to fly home. But if you're doing a Wednesday through Saturday and you get Omicron on Wednesday, you're going to start coughing on Saturday. So you probably can't do your Saturday shows, and you're going to be stuck in that town and in that hotel for 5 to 10 more days.
That's what Andy was like. That's the real problem is if you get stuck in Michigan.
Yeah.
And because remember who got it a week and a half ago, right? And
are you typing? Yes. Yeah. Right.
And she had to drive from Kansas City to Atlanta. She couldn't fly. So she had to rent a car and drive home.
While she was sick.
While she was sick, she's like, I can't, I want to be home.
Yeah. Right.
And I don't want to spend $120 a night on a hotel.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
our chat, our ladies chat is about 50% has had Omicron, which is really
so many people.
Only because she posted it on Twitter, but Christella also got it, which is really depressing because she is super careful, always has been hyper careful and vigilant about that stuff. And she was prepping to tape a Netflix special in Beverly Hills, and they were going to do rapid tests of every audience member before they came in. And she has been working out that hour, being hyper careful about the audience and stuff like that. And still got it. It sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I have a set tonight at the Improv with a hilarious lineup. Kira's doing it. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys are doing it.
Yay!
And really.
Yes. Come on. That's always a good time.
Nope. I don't like any of these guys. They're all
that guy.
Yeah, their self-absorption is so complete that I can't deal.
Look, Jackie, the least offensive trait of a comic is self-absorption. I think we've learned in the last 5 years.
It's true. It's the politics and it's the misogyny.
He's a Trumper?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think he's kind of backed up off of it, but he's always been super right wing.
Really?
And, yeah.
I can't tell from his act.
No, his act is boring. Oh, I'm so sorry.
He has one of my favorite bits. We have to agree to disagree.
We can. We've done that before.
That's one of my favorite bits.
I've never heard that.
You've never heard it? Well, maybe
is it timeless? Is it?
Yeah, it is timeless.
Much like the river, itself and the Mississippi.
All right. I disavow you. I don't know you. This podcast never happened.
Let's go back in time. We're gonna do a Spider-Man. Pardon me while I do a nice. Let's take a break before I do my Doctor Strange impression.
Please. I need to,
because maybe I'll forget to do my Doctor Strange impression.
That's what I'm hoping. Let's do comic of the week, and maybe you'll put your arms down.
Oh, there you go.
A comic of the week is Jennifer Vally.
Yeah, LA comic.
Yeah.
And she seems new, but super, like, I love her stage presence. I love her energy, right?
Yes.
I can't wait to see the stuff she writes. She seems so great.
She started at an older age, and it's funny because she kind of has like an older female comic delivery, like from a 90s delivery, which is iconic.
Sure.
Right.
And she'll shake it, I mean, I don't know how you were when I first started. We could talk about it afterwards, but because she is great. I really like her.
Maybe she won't. Maybe that's just her style.
It could be. She might keep it.
Yeah, why not? I mean, everyone's got their style, and
Jenny Valley, is that right?
Jennifer Valley.
Jennifer Valley, is it at Jennifer Valley?
It sure is.
Okay.
And it's just Vally, right?
Yeah, no
E.
No E.
No, but she's funny. She got funny stuff, and
and she's grinding it out. I was looking at her Twitter feed, and she was doing regular sets until end of November. That she was plugging on Twitter, and then a lot of
what happened? Radio silence. Let's check in on her before we.
Right. I think it was Omicron. I think she just kind of backed up a little bit, and that guy that hosted last night, he got to see my Corden set, me working on the Corden set like 4 times this weekend.
Oh, right. Jason?
I was like, Justin.
Yeah.
I was like, I am so sorry, man. Here we go. You get to hear these jokes again and again.
It is hell. It is truly hell. The thing is in addition to his idea of just speaking slower, which I think is actually great, because you don't want to be shoving material down, you want to enjoy it, maybe it's if you could do a 5-minute set or 4.5-minute set with 3 jokes, you win. Now you save 9 jokes for another set, But look at it this way, even if you do have to find another minute, how much you have 30 years of material that you have tenderly planted in this amazing forest, right?
Right.
Now it's time to cut down one of those trees, Jackie. Okay. So it doesn't have to be something you wrote in the last 3 months or since the album. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have given yourself all these little jewels that you can just go pluck right now and put in there.
Right. The 3.5 that he likes is the she/her stuff. And they really want the Thomas TJ thing, which I recently found out didn't make it. It's only on one of the, the sets. The difference between the CD set and the DVD set is minuscule, just because of how editing had to happen with the video.
Right.
So I don't think the TJ Thomas joke is in the DVD.
Well, so the 300 people that will listen to the DVD are deprived.
Or it's on YouTube for free. But if you like a hard copy or
coaster, it'll be on Corden for free soon as well.
True that.
Yeah.
And no, I know about the slowing down. I mean, I can't tell you, my dad and absolutely every bossy Magoo in the last 30 years has told me to slow down. And they're not wrong, but I always feel like I have 4.5 minutes here. You have the rest of your life to laugh at these jokes.
Right. I understand. I think Seinfeld even said it, not to you, but to almost every comic, just speak like you're talking to a child. So, just because we just start to we're all trying to jam it all in and not enjoy the fact that people are laughing at these jokes that we have grown to hate over the last 7 days. They're hearing it for the first time. They love it. And we're like, oh, fuck. I said that thing again. Oh my God.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So it's not wrong. And I have I'll do my set tonight. How funny, because I think it's a 15-minute set. How funny would it be if I did the set three times?
Chappelle would do it. Chappelle would do it. Do it.
Good catch. Well played.
Do it. Make some tweaks and go, folks. Let me just redo this one. Now let me tell the Thomas joke this way. All right.
Yep.
They're all industry anyway. They probably all book late night shows, everyone that's sitting at the Improv. So you might be making notes.
A Sunday at the Improv. I don't know. It's a hell of a lineup though. I mean, even with those three guys, I mean, they're all super strong headliners.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So, and last night's show was epic as well.
You know, everyone's going to backtrack and look at the lineup of the show tonight, try to figure out who you're talking about, right?
Well, if they can figure it out.
They can. It's pretty easy.
They already have.
All right.
They if they already have, congratulations. And so they've all been vaguely rude to me in the last 20 years.
Okay.
So
Understood.
And swear to God, all I want, and they're all ahead of me, right? They're all much more famous than I am.
Right.
And when they were rude to me, for sure, because I was hosting or I was just on a show with them, and there was all I want from people that are more famous than me is distant politeness, right? It's Leno is at the very least distantly polite, and often very nice. Perfectly, just
totally,
like, hey,
very nice.
going?
I
Especially
literally
if you're talking
described
about
Jackie as the first comedian of note who was nice to me.
Well, there you go. It's but if I would have been distantly polite, you would have been like, oh, that's all right. Yeah, you wouldn't have cared.
Yeah,
but
right.
if I would have been dismissive, you would have been like, what a jackass. And so the opportunity to be dismissive to me, all three of those guys have taken advantage of it more than once.
Okay, I understood.
So
Janine Garofalo was dismissive of me on the steps of the San Francisco Improv, and out
to this day
in front of Cobb's in the 90s, and that's why I never moved to LA.
Yeah, to this very day,
they all hate me because she's the most famous one of that scene, and now I bump into her every once in a while at the stand. Couldn't be nicer. It's all modern. It's all like, thank God you're still doing it too. That's how I feel with everyone. You know, I've said this before. Every time I see someone my age, even if they've gone lunatic right wing, sometimes I'm like, you're still alive. We're still doing it. I don't know what you're doing, but you're still doing it.
Did we talk about? I think we both did sets after we recorded last week, and this guy was on the because you texted me and you were like, he's doing jokes. And because we were both, because I was like, remember when he used to do stand-up? And
Jackie still does stand-up. I mean, it's funny because he was doing, and like, it was normal
jokes.
There were normal jokes, and then there were some anti-vax jokes.
That's when I came in, because you texted me because you were like, he's doing normal jokes. And so I come in and he starts this anti-vax joke, and I was like, what just happened? And you're like, I swear to God, he was doing regular material 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And the second name that I put in there, he's known him as long as I have, which is from like 92, right? 91, because he's from the Midwest. And so the other guy, and he goes, what happened to that guy? They said, well, he lost his mind. He got greedy. He decided that he wanted to use his imagine, if you will, you were a stand-up comic and you decided that you weren't going to do stand-up anymore. You were just going to go into sales.
Jackie, I imagine it every single day of the week.
Well, you would be very successful selling whatever you want because you've got the chops, right?
Right.
And what some comics have chosen to do is to use those chops and essentially go and sell pharmaceuticals. They've decided to use their powers for evil and to scare people.
You're right.
Patreon.
You and I turn down millions every day by not being the next Diamonds and Silk. Okay. Yes. We could be on Fox, every fucking Fox News show every night talking about liberals, and we would be Zooming from our Zoom offices, because we'd have houses with separate offices for just Zoom.
Right.
Carmen be in my fucking bedroom Zooming from my bedroom where you can see my bed behind me.
I know Carmen's staying with us this week and Andy has to teach remotely.
Mhm.
So I'm going to have to do Dork Forest from my bedroom because she's staying in our guest room.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Well,
But you are right. We are turning down millions every
we
moment.
really are. We really
Feel
are.
free to join the Max Fun, you guys.
Yes, we're trying to, figure out a way to just cook up Insta Zoom shows for our Max Funners as well. We don't want you to think we're just doing this for Patreon people. It takes a little bit of extra. They
have a
to
team.
coordinate. Yeah. And like Patreon's so easy. It's like, hey, we're going to do a show tomorrow night and a couple of people show up and that's all we need. Right. So we're figuring out a way to do that for our Max Funners as well. So,
right. And the Patreon, it's anywhere between like $1 a month to, whatever. I think Darla does $18 a month. Good Lord.
Wow.
And, but the,
she's actually half
Patreon.
our monthly income is your sister.
Right. Well, Maria told me Bamford just told me she just joined our Patreon.
Oh, that's so nice. That's
$5 a month. I was like,
what
wow.
the heck?
Yeah, I mean, it's $12 a year, you guys. And you don't get anything out of it except for the knowledge that you've supported the show. With Max Fun, you get extra shows, you get a pin.
You get pins.
You during the drive you do. But with Max Fun, you get slightly more stuff. But it is harder for us to organize with them to do Zoom shows, but we will.
Show. Yeah.
Because we will.
We just need it to be real quick and easy and not, just an email basically with a Zoom link.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be doing more of those, because obviously, and some people that's the other thing I wanted to, like with what they did at Vermont, when Natalie and Nathan did it for Vermont, is they live streamed the New Year's Eve show so that people that felt sick or they were freaking out and didn't want to come out could just watch the show. I think that should be an option that clubs, if they have the technology, should offer,
Acme does it
this month. But if we're going to live with COVID, okay, we're going to have little things like this, maybe every winter for a while. Right. So let's just adapt and be able to stream shows to that audience, not necessarily to the whole world. We don't want people not coming to a show, that we're doing 3 months down the line because they saw the live stream, but to people that live in that town and we're going to come or want to, but can't, if they could just pop on the live stream. And
there's so many people in rural Canada who were, when I did Zoom shows every week, they were just wow, this is awesome.
Really?
You're never going to come to, what I have would that I had.
Yeah,
I
Laurie
will.
And I will.
Kyle and I will be there. You snob.
Jackie-cation snob. Yes. Congratulations. It will. I mean, the thing is you want to do those road gigs. You could still, who's got access to all those road gigs. You want to drive around and do it right now?
Yes.
Feel free to ask her before she moves.
She
knows. Yeah, she's got every Hermosa Beach, Laughlin, right over the border in Arizona, and Kyle knows about stuff in Visalia and
Visalia, Fresno. You want the Central Valley.
Central Valley, where you're just
I would like stuff in the Northwest that's pretty.
Yeah.
Montana,
I'm sorry. Who's the snob now? I need it to be actually very pretty. Okay. I take it you're not going to go to Lincoln, Nebraska then, which they were like, can you come? And I was like, the nearest airport is an hour and a half away. I can't come.
Wow.
And I was like, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars to have me come. And he was like, and then he ghosted me. And I was like, no, you are right to ghost me. I was polite to answer you, but then you are right to also go, oh, I don't know that.
You know what I'm going to do for the attic is I'm flying into Indianapolis. Obviously no one flies into Bloomington, and I'm going to take Southwest from Burbank. So their options are limited. They get you in at 11 PM. So I'm coming in the night before on Thursday, and I
always do that
at a hotel next to the Indianapolis airport. And then they can come pick me up whenever. And it's a nice, easy Friday.
Yeah. Oh, I always just fly in and then they pick me up and then they put me. Yeah, then they put me up at the airport, the hotel.
All the Ubers are from Bloomington anyways out there because they know that's where you're coming.
Yeah, I don't want to have someone have to pick me up at midnight on Thursday.
Yeah, what are they doing? Really?
There's also there's a university bus that's $15 that I often take back to the hotel, back to the airport from the hotel.
Oh, you gotta hook me up. Maybe I can switch my hotel reservation and then just take that bus in. But do I want to take a bus after a 9-hour Southwest flight day?
No, you don't.
No.
You want to be driven by a crazy open micer.
I do. I do.
At midnight. Who just
wants to know about writing for late night.
Yep. See you next week.
Mm-hmm.